So today we're definitely doing something different and something I've never done before, and that is actually take a front loader off a tractor. Put one on it alright, but never took one off. And as a lot of you might guess now, we're not taking it off just for the fun of it, we're taking it off to actually refurbish it. When I bought this tractor, I said I was going to refurbish this pink loader, as a lot of you call it, and it does. It needs a bit of paint, just a bit of freshening up. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly good otherwise, it just needs a coat of paint. So I have a crowd organised this long time, since last March, believe it or not, to sandblast this, but it was just too busy with it, and I never really wanted to take it off because I was using it quite a lot. But at the minute now I can afford to take it off for a week or two because we're mostly topping now with it and there's no real need to have it on. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this off today. This ram here itself, I'm going to take that off as well separately. I'm going to take it away and get a new seal put into this ram because it is starting to leak more and more all the time now. And when we have it painted, we definitely don't want to have to start pulling it apart then and scratching the new paint. So we will get that done as well. So before we say too much more about it, we're just going to continue taking it off. I didn't actually know how to take a front loader off. It's quite straightforward. But I put the bucket on just for counterweight, and I watched actually I Do Agri. You might know him on his channel as well, another Irish lad. And I seen him taking it off his case and it looked fairly straightforward. So that's what I'm going to do now. We have it all kind of set up. That stand there is very seized. It's just the bolts too tight. So I loosen. I'm going to put new bolts on most of this stuff anyway. Anywhere I can, even in here on the mechanisms. Some of them's ferocious loose. See how loose everything is. So let's just take it off here first, and then we'll go into more detail with what we're actually going to do to it. So this big nut here gets loosened. That takes the pressure off this guy here. It's solid at the minute. When we loosen this, it'll take the pull off this, and we should be able to pull that pin out completely. There we go. Let's just turn around now. That should pull out. That should come out here as well. Done. Just turn the tractor off and just move the joystick about just to make sure there's no pressure anywhere. So that's all done there and everything's released. All we have to do now is take off our hydraulic pipes and back that thing out. Just when you're taking out these pipes, they're numbered on the chest, but the pipes aren't numbered, and I don't have a white actually marker. I can't place where it was put. Must be in Unicode. You must have took it on me, did you? These little zip ties are great. When you get the multicoloured ones, you get them in a pack and they're as cheap as chips. And they're great for the backs of hydraulic hose and things when you don't want to guess where stuff goes. So just like jobs like this here, you can't really go wrong. Once you colour code them like that, you're not having to go around and guess where stuff goes. You just know straight away where it plugs in. One more. There's it. And that's it for the first time on our farm. She no longer has a loader in front of it. But just when we have it off, another little job I'm going to do when we have our paint guy lined up to paint this is we're going to do our bonnet and side guards. Not a big job to do, but this whole bonnet is just tore out of it. Just from rubbing pipes and things like that, I'd say, done it. And even the far side here, it's dinted and it's got a right bashing from people putting on and off the loader and I suppose hitting the brackets against it. So what our intentions to do with this is basically, is we're going to get it all sandblasted. There's a company coming here to sandblast the whole thing top to bottom. And then my own guy who painted, my local guy who painted my hedge cutter before, he's going to come and he's going to etch prime it straight away. And then it's going to get 2-pack paint. I've looked at my local Massey dealer for the paint. And it's still only that single phase paint, which I'm not dying about. It fades very quickly in the sun, even with a lacquer on it. So we want to put a 2-pack paint onto it. So we're going to order a paint specially for it, so at least it's a bit more resilient, because that's why they probably fade an awful lot quicker. Red will always fade quicker than any other colour, but it probably faded a little bit quicker because of the style of paint, which wouldn't be that great, to be honest with you. So we're going to use 2-pack paint, do the thing right so we never have to dress it again. Another thing will be I'll be getting it re-decaled. We don't think we'll put the old style decal back on. We'll see. I have an idea of putting maybe a newer, more modern sticker on the side of it, but all these little labels in here and all that stuff will all be replaced. Another thing I'll do is I'll take off the soft drive. Very easy to take back off again, there's nothing to it. Put the 2 ends on, which I kept here, and remove that completely, and leave it that the bike can get in with the sandblast underneath and clean up that whole area as well. Good thing about the covers now, I can just strip them off, throw them in a trailer, drop them off with my spray man, and leave with him for a week or more, whatever he needs them, and can use away with my tractor in the meantime, because I use this every single day for topping, and I can't be doing without it, especially this time of year. So he can walk away when they're stripped off and not do the tractor any harm to have the engine exposed. It might look a bit rough, but what odds, as long as it works. Right, so we're just topping now, and the first thing I noticed straight away is she's as hard as iron. You'd just be sent to the roof. Oh, there's another big bump there. She is as hard as iron. So remember, this tractor doesn't have any suspension, and which wasn't a problem when the roller was on, because it was actually a very comfortable tractor to drive on the road and in the field. But what's wrong now is the pressure on the front tyres way too hard. Way too hard. So as soon as I get back from doing this job here, I'll be decreasing the pressure on them tyres for sure, because that load will probably be off. In reality, it'll probably be off for a good few weeks now, and I don't mind that, because in reality I don't need it this month at all. So let them take their time and do the thing right, but I will be letting the pressure out of these tyres. So now we're just off the top on that paddock there. There's a good spot here just to give you kind of a difference between stuff that has been topped and stuff that hasn't been topped. Now, this is the last section in this field here where the cows will be going tonight, and you can see there's a nice bit of grass on this side, but it's a kind of an old wiry grass, as we call it here. As you can see, the way it's just stemmed, it's the type of weather that we're having, and that there, seeded and all, really isn't that great for cows milking. Now, there's only bits of it like that. The further you go over, the better it is. Grass quality of the year has been very poor. Very, very poor. Stuff is seeding real fast, and that's just basically down to the type of weather, and grass is just stressed out at the minute. And when it's stressed out, it goes to seed really, really fast. So that's the kind of stuff we're getting there, something that was non-topped. Now that there was grazed about 2 weeks ago. If you come to this side of something that was grazed about 6 days ago, and this was topped. Now this was like this paddock here, exactly the same, and I topped it really tight like that. There's some people who would look at you and say, it's pointless, you're wasting diesel going around the field, you'd barely even notice what you were topping, you can't even see anything. Well, that's 6 days of growth, and you see how nice it is, and that's just from the dribble bar, by the way, and you see the type of grass that's coming. I don't know if the camera can pick it out, but it's lovely lush grass versus this stuff here that wasn't topped. Didn't grow near as well, very patchy, and just doesn't look like good quality grazing for cows. But thankfully it's the only paddock I didn't do. The rest of the paddocks are all done, and they're all coming back real nice, just like this one here. They grow way faster, way thicker and way faster, and it's definitely worth, even with the price of fuel, it's definitely worth going in and doing it. And then the dribble bar as well. Now tomorrow is given real warm weather, it's given 25 plus degrees, so I'm not going to slurry it. There's rain coming Tuesday, we're told about it, or Wednesday, don't know, so I might wait a wee while and then come in, because with the dribble bar you don't have to worry, like the splash plate, of if there's a regrowth basically, that you're not contaminating grass leaf, because you don't really do that much harm with the dribble bar. It's not near as bad as with the spread plate. So I'll wait for a couple of days till the rain's coming nearer, and then go across it with real just watery stuff, and hopefully it'll come back just like that. Now another thing I do, and every farm is different, remember that, but just letting you know the way I do things is I always top a paddock when there's only one grazing left. So cows, when they come in tonight, they'll go up here immediately and they'll start into the lovely lush stuff, well, wiry stuff, and then they'll come back down the field as the night goes on, and they get some of this stuff here, and they'll eat all that. They'll clean that entire paddock up, and then tomorrow I'll come down and I'll just finish off that top part. There'll be very little on it, and that leaves you with a much cleaner paddock. It's just something I've always done for the past 5 or 6 years, and it works really well just to come in and do it that way. You should just have a nice clean paddock with less stuff laying on top of the ground. I just wanted to tell you that. It was a good spot to show the difference in the two. Again, it's down to disc mower, and it's something I can't recommend if you're dairy farming. I can't recommend it enough. I've had that disc mower for 8 years, and there's nothing I could recommend as much. Not the brand or whatever, just get yourself a disc mower. Now, second-hand thing hanging in the sun there, as long as it works and tops fields, that's all you want. It's just money so well spent. Right, so we have our ram here now from our loader. So I've never done one of these before, but it looks relatively easy. This is the seal kit I'm after getting. There's 6 or 7 seals in there, quite a few. But we'll figure that out as we go along. I've never done one of these before. So if you haven't either, it's going to be a learning curve for us both. But it looks fairly straightforward. You have a sword clip there that obviously has to be opened. I'm going to put it in the vise here and we're just going to tackle into it and give it a go and see what happens. Yeah, this seal kit, eye-watering. The price of that was just eye-watering. I expected it could be what, 60, 80 quid? Yeah, dream on, Adrian, dream on. Sticking out a hat here, just not scratch it up too bad. It's been painted anyway, so not matter, but I just don't want to put any big gouge marks into it either at the same time. So let's take off this sword clip here for starters. Low ring here they have to remove first. That's that. What we have to do is get this pushed back in here because there's a little groove here. There should be a little lad that's keeping this in place. Be really careful not to nick the cylinder. So I'm going to get a wee bit of block of wood. And that should push in there now, which it has. And inside here there should be a little groove. There's there. So that guy there, he has a split in it right there, and that will allow me to hopefully open it and take it out. And when I do that, then I'll be fit to pull the whole piston out. Right, so we now have this off, and that wasn't easy because there was no nut on the end of this. Normally it would be a nut and you just loosen it and it comes off quite easy, but not this one. This one actually heating it, just heat it up, and the Loctite that's on this, it was absolutely caked in Loctite, will give, and then you should be fit to easily enough twist it off. And that's what I done, and it came off. I had to make a phone call to find that out. One of my mates told me, but heat, yeah, heat was the job for that. The first thing we'll do is going to stick on our O-ring. This fella here goes over that. That's that. This one here, which is a split one, which is the easiest one of the whole lot. Snapped on, job done. You look in there, there's kind of a split. You just get in around that split and just get it pulled out. There it is. Not least, probably the seal that's causing the whole harm is that one there. That's our new seal, just dropped in there now. Nearly there. That's that seal in. Perfect, just a punch, blunt end. By far the handiest, just to push it straight down. Don't use a screwdriver or anything because you're going to pierce it. But that there will just push it down right into its place. There we go. Now we're going to put some Loctite onto this. In case some of you ask, these marks, Aidan, did you put the marks on that? No, I did not. It was taken off before. It definitely was taken off before. It's quite easy to see it from the moment I started to the moment I got to this phase. But that'll not do an ounce of harm. That's on the place where you'll actually grip. It's nothing got to do with where the actual seal is, which is on this surface here. They obviously didn't have a good enough grip on it on the tort. I just used a set of water wrenches, these books here, and they tighten it quite easily. Once you wrap a wee bit of this around it, put them on it, quite easy, it doesn't really mark it. Anyway, let's put the rest of this back together. There we go. Put the steel split ring in here that holds the piston from pulling out. That's it. Clicky clack. Now we pull the piston out. There we go. Stick this new O-ring in. Right, that's it all back together. Hopefully, no more leaks. So that's our ram back on. Didn't bother filming it because I put it on yesterday and it was piping hot when I was doing that work, so I just wanted to get the thing on finished, but it's on now and hopefully there'll be no more leaks. But one other thing I done yesterday was I give it a hell of a degreasing. I really took into it for the third time degreasing this, and it really did pay off because there's very little grease left anywhere now. It's mostly all clean. I just see a couple of little spots in there where it might be fit to get in with a bit of brake cleaner and clean that off. Because when the guys are sandblasting it, yes, it will strip it off, but what it tends to do is it spread it all over somewhere else. So they could have this side all nicely sandblasted and then started this side and it blows all the grease over on top of it, and then we have to wipe the whole thing down before we can get primer on it, if you get what I mean. So if I can get the most of that off beforehand, all the better. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. The next job you're going to see on that there is the sandblasting, and looking forward to it because it's actually been done now this evening. I'm going to be filming that, and hopefully it'll look a lot different by tomorrow, because tomorrow is getting this primer put on and we're taking into painting it over the weekend. So there's a lot of stuff going to be happening, and I'm really excited to see it all finished up and done. It's going to look, well, it's going to make a big difference to the front of that tractor. But that's it for today's video. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.